inspire the STEM problem solvers of tomorrow. Very quickly is just a product overview, and you can see that the VEX product range spans quite a large age group. So why VEX Robotics? The VEX Robotics website offers access to an amazing bank of resources, knowledge bases, which is online help, and STEM labs. You can become a VEX certified educator, and on their website you can sign up for free online training which helps you with the implementation of VEX Robotics at your school. Just some images of some construction of some different types of robots. VEX IQ also offers a robotics competition, and these competitions are a great way to expose students to valuable soft skills like communication, collaboration, and time management. There are more than 8,500 teams worldwide, and they're competing or playing in over 900 tournaments. These can be local, regional, national, and worldwide. The challenge for this year is the 2020-2021 Rise Above Challenge, and that incorporates a teamwork challenge and also a robot skills challenge. I've provided a link on the slide which is to a YouTube which shows you this year's challenge. A robotics scrimmage is a pre-tournament, and it's usually held a few weeks before regional competitions. It's a fun experience for students and helps the teams get ready for an actual competition. The idea is to expose teams to the competition environment and the challenges and provide the opportunity to meet with other schools and teams and talk about their robot designs. And this is just some example. These were our students out at the practice fields. And this was actually during our practice competition. We were fortunate to take 3 rookie teams, and we left with Scrimmage Champion and also the Excellence Award. So it was a great achievement for our first scrimmage. Some advice and tips. Connect with and learn from other educators that are already involved in robotics. Go and visit schools and watch robotic competitions and scrimmages to get first-hand experience and knowledge. Generate interest for robotics at your school. Document your journey and have students tell the story. Clearly explain the different kinds of roles that are required by team members, both when building and designing the robots through to competition days. It's important that all of your team members are familiar with the game manual, the rules, the updates, and have experience in different team roles. Always include some team building activities and games to develop team cohesion, and allow lots of time to practice different skills such as driving, stacking, and turning. Keep documenting your team's journeys in their engineering notebooks, including dates and goals of each team meeting, and that keeps the students on track and accountable. There's also an official app which provides access to the game manual as well as a built-in timer function when your teams are practicing. This is some students that they've written their pseudocode for the robot and they're just going through and coding it themselves. We also use unplugged coding as a way of working out the best strategy as well. If you're interested in VEX Robotics, and I hope you are, we've really enjoyed our experience so far and look forward to developing our program. I've just provided some key people contact details here. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing if you have any questions.
Well, that was fantastic. Thanks, Michelle, for that. And thanks so much for putting it together in a little short video so it can give everyone a little bit of time to think of any questions they may want to ask you. I just wanted to let everybody know we have got quite a few families here today. We've got the VEX family of robotics. And Michelle mentioned that VEX are bringing out some more junior robotics, which are very exciting for engineering in lower primary. Also, we have next Lael. Lael's going to talk about what's been happening with Barker College. When I went to Barker, I was blown away. I was just like so excited, so passionate about the whole school program that they had. But Michelle, I wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to ask you, what challenges did you face in getting your team together? Was it before lunch or after school? Was it free or did you charge?
Okay, so what we did, being a primary school, we decided to start our journey as a lunchtime club. We had no problems at all. We've got so many students having digital technologies as a specialist subject. They're looking for more. So we're 2 years into our journey there, and the students are just wanting to be able to have that extension opportunity. So we started with only 3 kits. That's why we took the 3 teams. So the students come, I allocate 2 lunch times. But as we get closer to competition, I pretty much offer before school, first break, second break, to get as much driving practice in as they can. Our teams vary. I just, noticed a question pop up there. Our teams vary in size. I wouldn't suggest going too large. Our smallest team consists of 3 students, and they work quite well together. We factor in personalities and things like that. Our largest team is 5, and that includes some twins, which makes it interesting. When we swap our drivers over, they say, but the drivers haven't swapped. Yes, they have. Sadly, we've not had challenges. I think the only challenge is having to just limit to 3 teams because of cost, and I'd already put my budget through, and with COVID, I'd sort of lost a lot of my budget. But if you are interested, VEX offer through time to time a grant project as well. So you buy 1 kit, get 1 kit free. So that enabled us to end up with the 3 teams as well. So making contact with VEX with the details I provided, and they are just so helpful in getting you started. They want to boost robotics in Australia. So yeah, get in contact with them.
Thanks, Michelle. That was fantastic. I can't wait to hear from Lael to see sort of like taking VEX right up to the university level. And just for all those people that are going, oh, I don't use VEX, I wanted to start tonight off with VEX because I've had a little bit of a play with it. I've got 2 things that we've got some lunchtime groups working on it. And I wanted to let everybody know, hang on, because we've also got the K2 family of robots coming. We've got the Sphero family of robots, the Lego family, the Microbit family, the Wonder Workshop family, the MakeBlock family, and also all of those digital virtual platforms coming up as well. So if that's okay, I would love to hand over to Lael right now.
Just before you do, Russell, just letting you know, Carl has just arrived.
Hey, how you going? So Carl is part of the dynamic duo. We are both educators passionate about empowering teachers through providing regular teach meets and resources. If I could hang off on Carl's presentation and jump straight into Lael's presentation, Lael's going to tell us about what Barker have been doing and their journey there. And do we have Lael? Has he gone to sleep?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are we all doing? Let me just share my screen and then we'll get this kicked off. Okay, how's that looking? How's that? Is that coming through?
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, it's there now.
Looks awesome.
Fantastic. Great. My computer's doing some funny things. I'm not sure why. We'll see how we go. All right, so this is us. That's part of our team. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about a few different robotics programs we run here at Barker. So the first is give you a bit of context. We work at Barker College, which is up in Hornsby. There's about 2,700 students on our campus. The school's quite old and quite well resourced. So in our junior school program, we have about 800 students in the school. And that's the breakdown of our years. 7 to 9, about 910 students, and year 10 to 12, we have about 1,000 students. We're currently undergoing a move to coeducation, and we have about a 30% ratio of female students at the moment. So that's the context for the school. The robotics programs we run look kind of like this. So in prep to year 6, we run 4 different programs. So in year 2, we're running FLL Explore. In year 3 to 4, we're running VEX Go and the FLL Challenge. In year 5 to 6, we're running VEX IQ. In year 7 to 9, we run VEX EDR. And then in year 10 through year 11, and a little bit of year 12, but mostly we send them away for the HSC, we have the first robotics competition. And there's a big breakdown. Usually in the junior schools, we're running just like 2 kids per robot. And then in middle school, we're running 4 kids per robot. And then in the senior school, it's 80 students building the 1 robot for the competitions. So we'll have you a really brief look at how we got started, which was way, way back in 2013. So we're talking 7 years ago. And the first robot we built in FRC was literally just a drive base with a net. Super simple, really easy, not much going on. The next year after that also didn't get much better. It was a robot that was able to kick a ball. So it was a big arm. All that did was swing around and boot this big red ball like the exercise ball you sit on. And they did really well. They won the off-season event for the first time. It was the first time using sensors like switches and things like that to determine where mechanisms on the robot were. After that, 2015, there was a regional in Sydney. And we did really, really well. They captained an alliance. They ended up going through being a finalist. They won the quarterfinals. They did amazing job. And they stacked these totes up and down. I don't have any video of that to show you. 2016 was the next year that we did really well in, and we went all the way through to championships. But when we got to playoffs in championships, we were ranked 31st. We didn't do that well. We did, however, have a few things that were new that year. We did CNC manufacture of the robot for the first time. We had vision tracking on the robot for the first time. And the students basically went ahead and designed that using a Raspberry Pi, and then using bright green LEDs to shine against a reflective strip and do some math to figure out where the turret needed to turn. Very, very impressive. There's a whole bunch of stuff we learn every single year. Like so many times we make bad engineering mistakes, or we think we fixed something, and so you go back to a weaker component and end up with things like this, and end up unfixing problems we'd actually already fixed. We also made a huge assessment at the end of 2016 to decide how could we run our program better, and some big ways we did that were to create a qualification system for our team. So every single student in the team has a list of qualifications they can earn, which give them specific skills. And then based on how many of those badges they get, they're tied to our leadership roles. And we dramatically changed our schedule, making it so the kids were coming much less hours, but they were much more productive hours, which is really nice. 2017, the kids built this robot, which was to throw these wiffle balls. And they did some amazing things. We ended up winning about 4 or 5 competitions, 7 blue banners that year. We were basically tied for the 2nd in the world for most blue banners in a single season. And you can see one of the things I'm showing here is this little path generator. So our kids actually programmed this so they could actually draw on screen the path they wanted the robot to drive. And then it would convert those curves into mathematical coordinates that then the robot would follow along the path. So very, very impressive. So I'll just show you, this is what that looks like in real life. So this is the first 15 seconds of the game. So you can see the robot moving at quite high speed, and then it goes to shoot those balls up into the funnel. So robots are completely custom designed in CAD, then cut, manufactured, engineered, and then programmed by our students. So really, really high level work. In 2018, they built a tiny, tiny robot that launched these cubes up onto platforms. We ended up winning a number of competitions. We did really, really well in the Galileo division. We qualified 3rd, and we got the Excellence in Engineering Award, which was really, really nice. So let's have a look. This is what that robot looks like. So it's using pneumatic systems, using compressed air in that large silver tank there. to then use an actuated pneumatic cylinder to punch the cubes up into their location. So that was a 4-cube robot autonomous, so 4 cubes in 15 seconds, which there was probably about 4 teams in the world that were able to demonstrate that during that season. Then in 2019, just last year, this is a robot our team built. We had to pick up these discs and put them on a space shop and move these balls. So this is what the robot could do at the very end, which we're very, very happy about. We dropped down this platform, and then we're able to pick up a second robot. So super, super neat. So what's it like to get started in FRC? Well, it's actually quite a challenging competition to get started in. The learning curve, as you can imagine, is quite crazy. So you really do need to find parent and professional mentors if you do want to get involved. And of course, contact us. We would love to help as many schools as we can get involved in the season. It does start in early January, which makes it quite a challenge. And of course, the equipment required to make a high-level robot is quite advanced. So things like CNC router, metal lathes with digital readouts, so you can actually make precise parts, and then some other tools. CAD, SolidWorks, and AutoCAD provide free access to their software for students. So that's amazing. And then, of course, you can get parts from VEX Robotics. They make high-level parts for basically BattleBots and a whole bunch of other competitions, including FIRST. And any marks another supplier. There's rookie grants available if you want to get started in FRC, but a caveat you need to know about is it is quite expensive and the parts do add up. So that's what we do in our senior level. But in our junior levels in year 7 and 8, this is what we do, VEX Robotics. And the VEX Robotics you can see is a little bit different. So instead of using completely custom parts, you're using parts of a kit, and then everybody's on an even playing field. You don't need to have expensive equipment. You don't need anything like that. You just buy the parts from VEX, and then you can reuse them year after year after year. So for example, our kids this year have just pulled apart their robots to play with. And so they'll be reused by our year 7 incoming students. And a couple of things that Michelle alluded to, which we really love about VEX, is they really do have the best support and learning resources for robotics. You don't need to struggle through it. You can just go online, there's certifications, there's a whole bunch of resources that will actually help you. So if you want to compete, then basically the pathway is, if you want to, you can go all the way through to VEX Worlds. And VEX Worlds is what it looks like up the top here. It's literally tens of thousands of students in the same place competing in robotics, so passionate, so amazing. This is what VEX Nationals looks like. And I'll just show you a tiny bit of that clip, if it opens up. So this is the start of the autonomous. So you can see we've got fairly advanced robots all flipping open, and this is the program section where they're using sensors to determine where they are and then automatically pick up those cubes and then place them, which is really, really impressive. And then after the 15 seconds autonomous, then we have about 2 minutes of driving time. We'll see them drive in a second. So this is the highest level you'll see in Australia. This is the VEX Nationals that was held December last year. And you can see how impressive those robots are. So the potential you have is very, very high. For us, we've done reasonably well, but it has taken a long time. So we're 4 years in, and last year we've qualified teams to nationals for the last 3 years. But the robot's getting better and better. This is the first time we've had teams that are on any sort of where in the global skills rankings. We are, of course, trying to qualify to VEX Worlds, but we're not there. As I said, it takes time.
Wow.
So,
oops.
Resources. Here's what you want to do. Go into the knowledge base, look at some VEX teacher certification. The one that people are really, really loving at the moment is this VEX Code VR. And that's amazing. So many people have used it. They made it basically available for the pandemic, and it's completely free. So even if you don't buy any VEX products, you can go use this. And it's just amazing. So VEX IQ, even small robots down in the junior school. This is our number 2 team. So you can see they've got a holonomic drive base. So they've got wheels on the sides, and they can move in any direction. that's probably enough to get an idea. Same idea, lots of resources available that'll make it really easy. And then VEX Go, we've just started this. It's only just became available in the last few weeks. And that's in year 3 and 4. Amazing kits, things that are so good about them, easy to organize. Every single part has its place, and it's really age appropriate. Just basic enough for them to access and feel successful, and also accessible and extensible enough for them to be challenged, which is fantastic. STEM labs I haven't talked about for IQ and for EDR, but they're also available, and they're quite amazing. They take you through lesson by lesson how to actually achieve different components. So that's what we're doing at Barker.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed going and visiting your school. And if anyone are able to organise it after COVID, please give Lael a call. He's just very generous with his time. I know it's very daunting looking at the Formula One of robotics clubs, but this is just puts everything in perspective. And I can tell you, everywhere I walked on that day, I could just see really passionate educators and really committed kids that were just like totally in love with what they were doing. Talking about kids being totally in love with what they're doing, I wanted to introduce Fee, if I can. Lael, we're going to save your questions for in a little while, but
Absolutely.
I wanted Fee Morrison. Fee's from Innaburra, and she is an infants teacher and a digital literacy coach. She's one of those teachers that's got all of those qualifications, like the book creator ambassador, the global Google certified trainer, the Seesaw ambassador, all of those ones that we really, really want to get those qualifications, but we just haven't had time. Fee's going to talk about STEM clubs in K-2, and K-2 is definitely my passion at the moment. Whilst I love engineering and I love those big robots and they really excite me, it's just nothing more exciting than seeing those skills with the VEX Go kits and how easy it is for them just to pick up and go on that. So without further ado, if it's okay with everybody, I'm going to introduce Fee, and anyone that's got any questions for Lael, please put them in the chat and we'll try and get to you on those.
Hi everyone, I'm Fee. A little bit different to Lael's presentation. I even brought my puppet because that's just what we do in K-2. I've just put together a brief presentation about starting up a K-2 STEM club. So it's relatively new at our school. We started this year. I've put together a little video as well. So I'm just going to share my screen to share that video with you all. And hopefully you'll be able to see it in just a minute. Can we see the screen okay? Yeah, perfect.
Fee, you got to share the sound. When you share the screen, you've got to turn it, tell it you want to use computer sound.
Found it. Let's try that again, sorry. Oh, asking me for a password. Let's try that again.
Hi,
my
name is Fee Morrison.
Thank you.
And tonight I'm going to be talking about K-2 STEM clubs. What are the basics for launching one of these programs in your context? I'm a digital literacy coach, infants teacher and STEM club coordinator in Sydney, New South Wales. And tonight, just a brief look at the what, how and why of setting up a STEM club in any infant's context. So firstly, what is a K-2 STEM club? Many people watching tonight might already know what STEM clubs are, but some of you might not. So let's have a quick look at what a STEM club actually is. It's an extracurricular program designed to help students develop skills and engage them in STEM concepts that they might not normally get in a classroom. And usually these can operate during either lunchtime or after school, and that really just depends on the context of your school and what options you have available. And STEM Club is more than just using technology. It's really about developing the skills that students need for everyday life and going beyond into the workforce later on. These are the skills that we all promote very strongly, we're very passionate about, skills such as collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and communication. So what are some of the activities that can be involved in a STEM club? Really, the possibilities are absolutely endless. We've done Minecraft, we've done Lego builds, we've done using Play-Doh and matchsticks to build the highest tower. This term we're doing cardboard with make-do kits. Obviously we've used robots, that's the panel tonight, it's all about robotics. We've used robotics in our K2 STEM club. There are so many different options and opportunities for including activities into your STEM club. So how do we get started? If you're interested in starting up a K2 STEM club in your school, what things do you need to be mindful of and how can you get started? The first thing you need to decide is, what are you wanting to achieve with your K2 STEM club? Are you wanting it to just be a robotics club? Are you wanting it to be a coding club? Or are you wanting it to be kind of a combination of different STEM activities? So at our school, we decided that we wanted to start off with some different STEM activities, and in the future, we might narrow it down to maybe a specific coding club and things like that. So you just really need to decide on what it is that you're wanting to achieve in your STEM club. And then you need to prepare a proposal for the executive and for the school so that they know what you are trying to achieve. Trying to align it to the school's values, to the school's strategic direction, all of those things that will help boost your proposal in order to get it accepted. You'll also need to be mindful of the physical resources that you might need, including any financial help that you might be requesting from the school. You need to include all those things in the proposal so that they know up front what it is that you're asking from them in terms of support for your STEM club. You also need to get a stock take of the resources that you have for your STEM club. So for example, if you are wanting it to just be a robotics club, you need to make sure that you've got robots available. What robots do you have? Do you have Bluebots? Do you have Cubetto? Do you have Dash? Do you have Spheros? You really need to work out what it is that you have available to you. And if not, how are you going to get those resources? Will you ask the school for some financial support? Or will you maybe borrow some robots? The Caesar lending library in Adelaide have the option to borrow robots, and that might be an option for your school if you don't necessarily have a lot of robots at this time. But even resources such as Lego or cardboard or the make-do sets if you're wanting to cut with cardboard, you need to know what you've got available to you when you're designing your program. Obviously, to get a K2 STEM club going, you need students. So you need to work out how are you going to choose students to be involved in this program. If your school is anything like mine, I had every student in K2 wanting to be involved. So you need to decide on a process for choosing students to come into the K2 STEM club. We used a teacher nomination process where teachers had to choose students to be involved in the K2 STEM club. I asked for them to consider students who work well in STEM, students who engage and enjoy STEM that may struggle in other subject areas or other academic areas, and students who might really benefit from the social element of being in the STEM club and working collaboratively and using their communication with others. So once the teachers have all given me those nominations, I then send out permission notes to those students. Even though we have a lunchtime club, it's obviously good for the parents to know what their children are doing at school and to get permission for things like photographs and things like that. Then you need to plan your program and your activities. What are you going to actually achieve with the students? Because we started last term, we decided that we were just going to experiment with different types of activities. I wanted to get to know the students and work out what kinds of activities did they work well in, what activities were they not so interested or engaged in. They really loved Minecraft and using Minecraft collaboratively, but they could also be very easily off task with Minecraft. So it's a matter of knowing the students and knowing which activities are going to promote those skills that you're wanting them to develop. And then you get started, which is a pretty straightforward step. So here are some photos of our K2 STEM club. Some of the activities that we've done over the last term and a half. when we first started and we were just getting to know each other. It was National Science Week, so we decided to do a Lego build challenge on something that they could create to clean up our oceans. So we had a variety of boats that would pick up rubbish with vacuums and all those sorts of things. And then you can see we started to go into some of the robotics, build a maze for the blue bots, using Scratch Junior, again using mazes with their spatial awareness. With the younger students, it's all about repetition and building on their coding skills, building their coding language, and just building on that base of learning and kind of constantly going from there. So it is a lot of repetition in different kinds of contexts. You can see that they're doing some Minecraft down the bottom, and they were building something that they had designed on a piece of paper. Yeah, so at the moment, we're just sort of trialing a few things to see what works with the students, what really helps them to develop those skills, what are they engaged in, before we keep moving on to other types of activities and a more structured program. So that's just the basics of how we got started with our K-2 STEM Club. Feel free to send me an email or chat to me on Twitter if you want any more information about how we got started, or I'm more than happy to send through my proposal template to you. I'm happy to chat through any ideas. So I hope that was helpful, and I'm really looking forward to talking with you on the panel tonight.
Well, amazing, Fee. Thank you so much for presenting that. And we had a couple of questions coming through. The first one is how did you get your other staff members on board?
Well, at the moment, the K-2 STEM Club is mostly me. I'm driving it. As most of you are probably aware, you need one passionate person to really kind of share the passion with everyone else. I have had a lot of staff members really interested in what we're doing in STEM Club, and have had some people kind of pop in and visit to see what the students are doing. I think there is interest there, but it's also that unknown of how do I get started? What do I do to get started? And I think watching someone else start and going, oh, hang on, it's not that as hard as I think it's going to be, I think actually helps people to feel a bit more on board. So at the moment, I'm driving it, and people are kind of showing a bit of interest in popping in and seeing what's happening. And that's kind of where we're at. I'm still trying to drive that kind of focus and that passion from there.
Yeah, I really admire that, just putting it out there and seeing how it goes. We also had another question saying about Ozobots and programs for B bots and blue bots and stuff like that. I find them online quite easily. Sometimes if I'm in a rush, I'll pay for things. Everybody should be aware that there are two types of Ozobots. There's the ones that you use with the pens, which are now obsolete, and they're the ones that you use with the screen. But where do you mainly go to get your STEM activities?
Well, I've mostly been, I'm a bit of a Twitter junkie. I love Twitter, and I found it's the best professional development that any teacher can have. I didn't use Twitter before this year, and Brian actually introduced me to Twitter, and since then, my husband was just commenting before that he can't get me off it. I just find it really helpful to be able to connect with like-minded educators, people who are passionate about STEM and about robotics. And usually I'm like, I've got this question, I'm not really sure, what do you guys think? And I have 10, 15, 20 people respond to me with suggestions and things like that. And I've just found that that's the most helpful, really the most helpful tool for answering all of my questions. Like when you've got all these experts at your fingertips, you just go straight for it.
Yeah, big shout out for Primary STEM Chat on Thursdays.
Yes.
8 p.m. It's really fantastic. You'll get a lot of resources. Did anyone else have any questions? We had a question about it being a good idea for school care. Our after school care providers already do something like this. They don't do anything with robotics. Robotics is definitely with the Blue Bots and the Dash and the Ozobots. It's just the easiest thing in the world to set up. The kids can run that, charge them, put them away, manage it, and do everything for you. I went and brought some big giant boards for my tabletops. They're only 600 by 900 and 3 mil MDF boards. They've only cost me about $10 or $11 per board, and that's what I paint all my grids on and my scenes on. And I just get my arts club people to do that for me. Did anyone else have any questions for Fee? Because we're about to jump into the Sphero family.
It's not necessarily a question, but it's a observation from someone who teaches at the same school, and hearing the feedback from students. At that younger age, it is incredibly important to try and engage the students in STEM and robotics as early as possible, and that's what Fee's been doing. To hear the passion of her students, it's a privilege for when I get them at year 5 and 6. So.
Yeah, fantastic. And Meredith just shouted out that microbits, which are around $20 to $30 with a battery, are fantastic. And Microsoft MakeCode is free. And also wanted to shout out saying that Edison's, not a lot of schools are using Edison's. You can get those for around about $50. They're very, very easy and also Lego compatible as well. Well, if it's okay, without further ado, I'm just going to hand you over to Peter. Peter is an amazing iPad educator. He's written a couple of books even, and he's done an amazing little presentation on Sphero BOLT. Sphero has 2 main robots out there. The first one is I've even forgotten the name. The Bolt is the has taken over from the other robot. And the other thing is there's this really cool rover that is compatible, takes you right up to high school, and then little things like spectrums. So I'll pass over to Peter if that's okay.
Thanks, Russell. So my name is Peter Apt. I'm a teacher on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and I basically teach P2 STEAM. I've had a range of different roles over the last sort of 7 or 8 years, from digital technology teacher, digital technology coach. So about the moment I'm teaching P2 STEAM. So I'll just share my screen here. I'm not a massive user of Zoom, so shout out if I get it wrong. Let's have a go here. So I'll just play this little presentation and then we'll have a bit of a chat after that. My name is Peter Apt and I'm a P2 STEAM teacher at Burnside State School on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. I work on a diverse range of creative projects and have been working with Sphero for the last 6 years. I'm also one of the Sphero Hero ambassadors. Sphero BOLT offers a range of key features which makes it suitable to any robotics program. First of all, you can program in 3 different ways through the Sphero EDU app. It has an LED matrix, it's packed with sensors, and has a durable waterproof shell. I use Sphero in the classroom because its ease of use makes it very suitable to primary schools. It has great flexibility across the curriculum, especially in STEAM. Fantastic for collaboration because you're often working in small groups. And it's very suitable for a range of construction projects. Plus, it's heaps of fun. When getting started, I often create a Sphero dome out of pool noodles and rope. Each group then has a home base to work from. You can also use an obstacle challenge where students have to avoid any obstacle to improve their driving skills. Sphero can be used for a range of curriculum projects in class. Here we see some prep sight words. This also shows the flexibility of the learning format with the Sphero dome. It's a very visual task that encourages students to collaborate to find the answers and has very high student engagement levels. Here we see Rosie's Walk, which is a Year 1 English curriculum book. Students create Sphero puppets to bring the story to life. They are also better able to understand the book's concepts around positional language, like across, around, over, through, and past. In Year 2, we see Sphero Maths, where students look at a range of concepts like time, place value, money, number lines, and 2D shapes. This is an opportunity to differentiate and deepen learning. The project is complemented by a book creator template and encourages collaboration and independent learning. Here we see Year 3 Sphero painting, and is a great example of how art can be incorporated into STEAM. It really shows the flexibility of the Sphero, and you can paint with free drive or code. It's also well suited to collaboration where students can paint with more than one Sphero. Year 4 Sphero Cars was a maths activity for mapping and location. Students created cars powered by Sphero and then coded their cars to various locations on the map of our local town. It really gave students a real-world understanding of our local area and landmarks. Year 5 Sphero Golf is always a hit, where students get to study angles and maths. Students designed and created golf courses that could be played with the Sphero. They then played the course by coding the Sphero from the tee to the hole. It required high levels of student collaboration and really developed their resilience when finding the coding solution. Year 6 Sphero BattleBots is a technology design thinking project where students prototype, test and iterate their design. Students worked in pairs to construct their project and were challenged to think critically. Students really enjoyed the competitive nature of the project. Here are some tips and tricks to get you started. Train your students to connect the Spheros independently. This builds their knowledge of robotics, plus it frees the teacher to deal with any other organisational matters. Begin with play-based location activities. Learn with your students and encourage them to solve their own problems. Sphero has a range of global challenges. They are Sphero Little Bits, Invent for Good, Bolt Space Mission, and Rover Mars Mission. Just search Sphero Global Challenge to find out more.
So I just start by saying that unfortunately the photos don't really show the full story of a lot of those projects. So I'll go and share some YouTube clips of some of those projects within the comments, and you'll get a better idea of what's happening. So they're all based on the Bolt robot. If you've got Spheros in your school at the moment, you may actually have the Spark. They look very similar, except for the Bolt has a bigger battery, the LED matrix, and has a range of different sensors involved in that. The competitions I mentioned towards the end of the presentation are still relatively new. They've been out about sort of 9 to 12 months. And at the moment, they're global online competitions, obviously with COVID being a thing that Sphero have gone that way. I do know that Sphero are going to move towards more locally based competitions in the future. Okay.
Awesome. I love that pool noodle one. I thought that was fantastic. We're all going to be going out and buying pool noodles. And I really see the KLAs with the maths and stuff like that. It's just fantastic. Sphero runs on iPads or the touch laptops. It is in 3 different languages. And is also integrated with Swift Playgrounds, which is really good.
Yes,
and you can find a lot of that stuff on Everyone Can Code on the Apple stream. Please keep sending in your questions. I'm going to try and save a lot of the questions for later, so we can just keep moving on because I'm mindful of time. And I wanted to introduce Claire. Claire Selden is one of my great Twitter friends. She's a high school teacher. And she's done lots with gamification. Her teaching area is science, history, and technology. And she's awesome at creating digital resources and teaching at UTS and working on virtual robotics platforms and digital products with modern teaching aids. Claire's going to talk to us about the new choices in virtual and hybrid robotics. Lael mentioned VEX VR, and Claire's going to talk about 2 platforms at least that I know of. So it's a really, really exciting format. And Fee talked about the Minecraft kids as well. Doing anything on technology with robotics and virtual coding platforms really builds up those ICT skills. And we've really got to try and tick the ICT boxes as well as the digital technology boxes. So if it's okay, I'm going to jump over to Claire. If anyone's got any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat.
Hi guys, thank you for having me. I've shared a bit.ly to the presentation that I'm going to talk to today. I'm just going to share my screen now. So just a little disclaimer. The two products that I'm talking about today, I think they're awesome, but the company I work for sells them. It sells a whole bunch of the other products that everybody else is talking about as well. So um, just letting you know. The VEX Robotics actually worked with Robotify on building their platform. So Robotify was invented by two young blokes in Ireland, and they were trying to figure out how to bring robotics to low SES areas in Ireland, because they have a lot of issues with unemployment and kids just not getting exposure to those jobs of the future, the STEM jobs. And they started out trying to sell physical robots. And the problem that they encountered was that they could not make them cheap enough to get enough into those schools. So instead, they decided, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to build a virtual robotics platform. And they started with, let me see if I can. So they started with a block code where you get an online platform, you drive the robot. It's game based in that there's missions and you can get hints and clues to stuff that support the kids. But basically the teacher gets a class license and then they add their kids in, and the students can work in teams, but they can work individually. And then you drive a drone, fly drones, you drive a submersible in the Great Barrier Reef, or you just program a little like Sphero type robot around a space. What they have just launched is a fundamentals course for the much younger students. And this is for your, so some of the feedback that we got with Robotify was that it was a bit too difficult for the little ones and not complicated enough for the older ones. So this new Mars thing that has come out is, the idea is that the kid is the programmer and they are guiding this adorable little robot to do jobs around the Mars base and sort of building up the levels of skill as they move through. So there's a bit of a story element to it, which I really love. But then for the older students, they've actually paired with REC to do a Martian survival challenge. And it's using the Robotify platform, but in this instance, they're doing Python coding. And they will actually in January be releasing for the Mars platform, they're releasing a version that uses JavaScript. So the teacher will be allowed to switch between the block coding or the JavaScript, depending on where their students are at. And particularly in New South Wales, where in year 7 and 8, they really want us moving away from the block coding into the text coding, to have those multiple language versions, I think is a really big deal. I think the idea of building the physical robot and those big teams doing the awesome stuff like Lael was talking about is amazing. But there are lots of students for whom physical robotics, and lots of schools, that it's just not possible to buy sets of robots, or even the students may not have the physical skills. So one of the bonuses of your virtual robot is that students who maybe struggle to share can have that focused problem solving. Students that maybe don't have the grip strength can use the laptop to program. And then the other one I'm going to talk about is Dash's Neighborhood. So originally, so Dot and Dash are like awesome sort of K2 robots. They're really fun. There's multiple versions of them and huge numbers of, like, there's cards you can get with them and all that kind of stuff. But even before COVID, although I think they released it early because of COVID, they had this Class Connect series, sort of like a teacher dashboard with like really great lessons and resources and very structured to help the little kids. But then again, when you can't send the robot to the child's house, or in the case of students where you can't afford to buy the kits for every student, you've got this virtual robot. And I guess one of the benefits of Dash's neighborhood is that it's specifically linked to the physical robot. And so Wonder Workshop as a company wants you to be, as a teacher, they want you to be using both. And I would never, like, I think Robotify is amazing. I particularly love the gamification element of it, but I would never suggest that you use a virtual platform instead of real robotics. I think there's a place for both, and it's about figuring out which ones work best in which context. But so if you get the Class Connect license with the all the lesson plans and whatever else, that now also comes with the Dash's neighborhood. And it is basically, now let's see if I've got, no, I don't have a picture of the actual robot, I'm sorry, but there are links to all these things. And so the competition is relatively new and it's free. So, you know, getting started in some of these competitions, as other people have said, can be expensive. This one is free and it works with the little kids. And I guess we're definitely seeing that in virtual robotics now, increasingly, that the idea would be that you want kids to be able to compete with each other. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to stop screen sharing. And not necessarily have to go overseas, which they probably aren't going to be able to do for a while. But again, it's an equity issue. You might not be able to send more than a few groups of kids to Sydney to compete or whatever. But for the virtual platforms, you can have all your kids compete as individuals or in small groups. And so I think that equity makes those virtual robotics platforms really attractive. Thanks, Russell.
Fantastic. I love that. And it's so great to be working with you rather than just on the other end of a Twitter handle. I've got to give a big shout out for Kai's Clan at the moment, because Kai's Clan has been a really exciting platform which combines both virtual and physical. And hopefully Karen's going to talk about that in just a moment. Kai's Clan and MTA are forming a partnership in that MTA is their reseller. And MTA has always helped me out heaps when I've begged them, please, can I get this one robot to test? And then hopefully one to buy afterwards. And also I wanted to say, Claire, what's your feelings about gamification and ethics in virtual robotics? Some teachers are worried, or some parents are worried that the kids are spending too much time on screen. What's your feeling about gamification and the ethical thing about too much screen time?
Well, so one of the things that I find really interesting is that the amount of, if you go to a cafe and watch parents, and the kids aren't on the screen, but the parents are on the screen, or if you go to, as somebody who spent a large number of years giving PL to teachers, and watching them all, checking their mobile phones and being on while you're presenting. I think I think the horse is out of the cart. So I did see a study somewhere that suggested that the quality of the screen time was more important than the quantity. I believe below 5 years, there is an issue with, and as I said, I would never replace hands-on robotics with virtual robotics. But I think when you're problem solving, and there's a big difference between gamifying something and it being a game. But Minecraft is a game and it's amazing. Like, it is a fantastic educational tool. You can also play it as a game, but it is an outstanding educational tool. And so is a pencil. And you can hurt yourself with a pencil. I mean, I remember being told over and over and over again in primary school, don't lean back on your chair or your pencil will go up your nose. So, like, to me, there's an element of pretty much anything you can use in the classroom can be dangerous if you use it foolishly. And I think if kids see every single adult around them with their face in a screen 90% of the time, which frankly I think we do. Like, I read a Kindle, I'm on my phone, I'm on my Twitter, I play games, I watch TV, all of those things are on screens. Like, and then we say to kids, oh no, you shouldn't be on that screen too long. When Pokemon Go came out, I know I'm going on about this a bit, but when Pokemon Go came out, and my teenagers, I was still teaching back then, my teenagers were so annoyed because they were trying to run around the neighborhood, catch Pokemons, and their parents were yelling at them to stay home because what were they doing out running around on the streets? And one of my students said to me, if I stay home and play video games, I get yelled at. Now I'm trying to go out and run around and play video games. I'm being told to stay home. So I think, I think there's balance in all things. Like, a pencil is the right tool in some situations, a robot is the right tool in some situations, and a awesome gamified virtual robot is also an awesome tool in some situations.
Cool. I also feel that this is a great opportunity for one-to-one. So the kids, when they're sharing one robot between 3 or one iPad between 3 in their classrooms, they don't get the one-to-one experience, the ICT skills that they need. We're using a pilot, a trial of Robotify at the moment. We're using a pilot of Tinker. We're using a pilot of CoSpaces and something else. I should remember, but I don't. These are all, term 4 is just a fantastic time to put your kids on virtual coding programs, and then in term 1, bring out the robots again and start all over again and do that thing of hands-on activities with the robot, and then screen-based activities, and then making activities and back. If it's okay, everybody, I know we're going for a long time. We will be going until 9:30. We've got another 4 amazing presenters to go. I want to hand over to Karen Binns at the moment. Karen is so inspirational and so generous with the time. She's an ICT teacher and integrator at St. George Christian College, and her role involves working with all students and staff in a K-12 environment. So we don't get many K-12 teachers, and it's fantastic to get that breadth of to see it. She runs an ICT leadership group with the Year 5 students, a school's design studio, and she's also runs a highly motivated RoboCup junior participants and Wonder Workshop as well. Karen's passionate about integrating technology and transforming learning, and she believes in hard fun and innovation. Karen, can I hand it over to you?
Sure, thanks, Russell. Wow, I've been really impressed with all our speakers so far. So, and thank you. Some of my talk is already been covered by other people, so I'm actually going to skip some of those slides. But mostly I'm going to tell you about my journey in robotics at my school. So I've been involved in education for a while, and share this slideshow. And I started off with Commodore 65s and Apple IIe's, and we progressed through the 90s and the early 2000s, and the iPads came out, and I thought, wow, what a great tool this is going to be. And got a EV3 kit it was an NXT kit for Christmas one year. And my robot journey started there, I guess. So been trying to create, my idea behind why I do all of this is because I want to build community in our school, and passing the baton on from one year to the other, whether that baton goes up or whether that baton goes down in the year groups. So our design studio is there to support everybody, and that's where my Year 5 leadership team operates, and then they have their own time. We also do some Minecraft things in there. And I was in a webinar this afternoon with Professor Bronwyn Stuckey, and there's going to be a new exciting thing for girls next year, esports for girls in Minecraft. So stay tuned for that one. And so I base a lot of the things that I'm doing on what teachers can do in the classroom, and then we have our lunchtime robotics, and a bit like, is it Fee? No. Oh, I can't remember who was saying it now, but you were saying that you have 2 lunch times a week, which is, I have 3. And then when the competitions come up, you're there after school, before school, Saturday afternoons, and whenever you are needed for kids. But this community that we've built at St. George has taken, it wasn't built overnight, and has taken the last 10 years of a journey towards it. But why do I do it? Because I love these faces. I love the aha moments where the kids get to go, wow, this actually works, and they get excited about it. And we enter competitions, but it's not about the competition, it's about the community we build along for the journey along the way. So people have already said this: take others on the journey. Don't try and do everything at once. Start with something small and let the kids drive it, have a voice, and don't be afraid to fail, which is the first attempt in learning. And we've talked about that a lot tonight. Do you need a competition? No. Is it fun to do the competitions? Do the kids love it? Certainly. So why not go for it? But if you haven't got the capacity to do that, then don't. Just do what you can do in your space and in your time and with the budget that you've got. So this semester with Year 6, we embarked on a Minecraft design challenge, and it involved a mission to Mars. And in Minecraft, the students had to create a base station, a habitat that would have not just research things for the colonists, but mental health and well-being spaces and sustainability spaces as well. And what happened with those structures that we built in Minecraft, we exported them using a structure block, and we put them on this little yellow robot that you can see here. So this is Lauren's iPad. She's built a Mars rover. She's used the Lego. We had some VEX robots as well. And they modeled what they wanted to build off the physical things that we had with Lego and VEX. And then we used those structures and used the QR codes on top of the little yellow robot, which belongs to Kai's clan, and created a virtual world for Mars. And this is how that turns out. So we can get this to work.
100 feet, 3.5 down, 9 forward.
So the coding in this is block coding, and it's really simple.
75.
And Kai's clan's one of those things that you can, it's bigger than Ben-Hur in the box.
60 seconds.
Is the video forwarding on for you guys?
Down 2.5.
No, it's static.
Static, okay. Here we go. So I've split the screen so you can see that in the real world over on the right, or at least my right, is the Kai's clan robot running around. And the kids have programmed it to take something from their base to the stranded colonists up in the Arctic polar region up there that's needed for them. And then they are meant to return something back. We we ran out of time on our Mars day. And then you can see on the right with where the Minecraft blocks have come in and how the how we integrated Minecraft with the AR and the QR code. The nice thing about the Kai's Clan, when you put it in AR and and you can do virtual view as well, is that it has the Apollo 11 space audio that go in the background, so the kids think that they're actually doing real space things. So that's pretty nifty. So that's how Kai's Clan works. Kai's Clan doesn't have its own competition. However, in New Zealand it does. It has a space race, and we're trying to talk them into bringing that one to Australia. So the other thing that I do is I've been involved in RoboCup Junior for about 8 years now, and we've managed to represent Australia at 3 World Championships. We didn't get to go this year because of COVID, which would have been taken us to France. I've taken line rescue teams, and on the right here is a robot that, let me see how to explain this. It uses vision, it uses AI, it has a robotic arm, and it uses a ROS platform. And what you can do is get the robot to follow you. And the tall guy in the picture there, he has just completed that as his HSC project this year. So, so that goes into the Junior RoboCup at home competition. So RoboCup Junior's idea is that by 2050, they want to have, as in the picture on the left, a competition where humans actually play robots, life-size robots in a game of soccer. So that's where they're headed. Their whole premise is based on project-based learning, and I'll show you their website in a second. One on the right is line rescue, and where the robot needs to have some light sensors, and it needs to follow a line and avoid the obstacles on the way, whether that be stuff on the track like bamboo skewers or water towers, which are just lemonade bottles that they have to get around, or it might be coloured turns or various things that can be a surprise elements in the competition. And we also do the Wonder Workshop. We've done this one for 3 years. And what Claire was saying about this competition is, so RoboCup Junior costs you about $100 to enter a team at a national level, about $70 at a state level to enter a team, and you can have up to 4 people in that team. Whereas, and that's great for stage 3 and up, but I find that the Wonder Workshop Robotics Competition for K to 6, even K to 8, is it's cheaper because it's free, and it gives them a step up, and it gives them all the skills that they need for RoboCup Junior. So that's why I dovetail those two as competitions during lunch times that the children can choose to enter or not. And all that the students need to do, there's 5 challenges in the junior. There's a 6 to 8 age group, a 9 to 11 age group, and a 12 to 14 age group. And the students video all of their challenges that they're given, their missions are given to do. The awkward thing about it is that it's run according to the Northern Hemisphere academic year. So you have to, and everything's due in the middle of January when we're on holidays, not in hospital. And so you need to get it done before you go on school holidays. So I'm often there the first couple of days of the school holidays trying to get everybody videoed and all the videos uploaded so that we're not, calling kids back in January. Although we did do that our first year because we made a mistake on the timing. And then if you've completed those 5 missions, Wonder Workshop will offer the kids a chance, if they've done well, into the finals, which is held February, March the following year. But they stay in the age group that they were when they started. And so this year, the 2 girls on the left, they were in the 9 to 11s, and they got top 5 in the world this year. So they were very excited, won that package of goodies plus a new robot. Let's see if this works. Can we go out and in? Well, my computer's going to have a meltdown, so lucky I prepared this before. So I'm going to backtrack. This is the RoboCup site. I'm just going to, it's national and international. It's aligned to all the ACARA outcomes, and that is going to be updated during this coming school holidays. There's 3 divisions: rescue, on stage, and soccer. Everything supported to purchase the equipment for this through MTA, but you can buy third-party things as well. So the most expensive part of this competition is buying the robots themselves. And this year, because we had to go virtual, our New South Wales competition, which closes on the 7th of December, oh, here it is, has an art bot challenge where you can draw some art with your robot. It has an on-stage challenge, which is dance theatre. Choose a piece of music and make your robots do something to the music or tell a story. We have our traditional rescue sprint, which is the line follow. We have a senior and a junior maze challenge where you can, you've got to follow a maze and rescue a victim. It's based on a collapsed building, and the dark holes here are where you can fall through the floor. The junior one, however, is based on colours. So, and you can do that with a dash robot. It's a helper bot challenge where you can build a robot that will do something to help someone. And there's a MTA sponsored one where you need to use Spike to build a biomimicry robot. And then one of the guys on our committee has created a virtual soccer competition because we found that was a bit hard to play online. You can use block coding or Java for this. And I think Python, yeah, blocks and JavaScript. So that's that competition. And then the Wonder Workshop competition that Claire alluded to, let me just pull this down. Once you sign up, so even if you don't want to go in the competition, I suggest you register, because then you'll get access to this coach's corner and access to all their previous stuff. And it will go through what's in the challenge and the missions, and you can download it as Google Slides or PDFs. It takes you all the way through what you need to do, how to run it, how to inspire the kids, what the missions are, and all other bits and pieces and the tricks to how to manage the competition, how to work out the timing for it. So that is that. Because I'm covering 3 different groups, I've just lost my slideshow now. Oops, sorry about that. Did make wonder. Oh, that was it. So that was me in a very few minutes so that we can get on to all other presenters.
Thanks.
So happy to ask any questions.
Thanks,
Answer
Karen.
any questions.
That was really fantastic. If it's okay, I'm going to ask Ron or Bruce just to come on just briefly and just explain to us what Kai's Clan is, because it just covers so many different things.
Hey, hey, thanks for giving us this few moments. Yeah, what is Kai's Clan? Well, geez, I think Karen's, did a great job of answering some of those things. Kai's Clan is probably a hobby project that I started about 3 years ago, and I just wanted my son to get a grasp on, not just doing some basic coding of robots, but really get a grasp on different technologies that are available in the industry today. And, we took the latest technology. For instance, we use fiducial codes, which are little QR codes that are used by Amazon Warehouse on the floors of their robots. So Kai's Clan is basically a STEAM toolbox, and you can do arts, you can use Lego with it, you can use Minecraft like Karen was using. One of the coolest features, I guess, is the ability to design elements and snap on virtual avatars. So when you code your robot around, you're not just coding a physical robot, you're also coding a virtual virtual rover on Mars and stuff like that. So, Karen, did I miss anything out? Or maybe Brian could chip in.
Nah.
It's to be honest, the best robot that I'm using in stage 3 at the moment. I'm absolutely loving it. Pretty much using it 4 out of 5 days a week with my stage 3 students. Yeah, so many possibilities. The support is absolutely great. Bruce and Renelle both like 5 minutes into a lesson today. One of my students, or a group of my students, had a bug in their code, and I sent an email to Bruce and Renelle, and 5 minutes later they were on a Zoom call with us, with the students being able to debug the code. So yeah, it's pretty unusual for the creators to be able to come on and be able to problem solve as quickly as that.
Well, thanks,
Yeah, the
Brian.
other good thing is you can pull the robots apart and turn them into water pumps for all those self-watering water things. The other thing we didn't mention is when you actually go into that virtual world, you can have 2 groups interact with another group. So I could have my robot set up and get my robots to talk to Bruce's robots in New Zealand, or Brian's robots over at his school. And you can collaborate and give each other challenges in that way as well. But the other thing you can do is you can code the robots to interact with the people on the other side of the world, or the other side of in another school with a different classroom. And like I could make it rain on Brian's robots, or I could make a dust storm come up for Mars or something like that. And the potential of that in global collaboration on the spur in the classroom for actual curriculum outcomes is great. And it's not a competition, but I just think it's a fantastic product. Sorry. However, I like EV3s and NXTs and Dash and Q and all of those as well. So there's a place for everything. And like I said at the beginning, it's about you finding what meets the needs for your kids in your school and your budget.
It was very cool this morning, though, to see my students' jaw drop when they realised that their robot was being operated from New Zealand.
Same when we get our stuff.
Does anyone know of any other robot that can be controlled remotely like that? Because I haven't come across that. No.
Well, thanks for that, guys. That explains something that's a little bit complicated, what we will probably call a hybrid robot. Guys, we're going to be going for another 25, 30 minutes. I know we're running a little bit late, but we've just got 2 amazing presenters still coming up. And plus, I want to have a quick wrap up if I can. I want to introduce Jason from Knox Grammar. He's from the Knox Preparatory School, and he's doing the most incredible things with 5 to 8 week cycles for inquiry-based learning. And he's really just nailing it down really tight, bringing it down with all those outcomes that we're all supposed to be achieving, and ticking the boxes and achieving really amazing things, probably a year or 2 younger than what I've seen before. And that's because they've taken I had a chat to the guys, they've taken a long-term approach, and lots of real strategic planning, lots of skill building also with the kids as well. So I'm really excited. I met Jason through Edutech Asia, and he hosted a really amazing panel, and his video is really exciting. So I can't wait to show you that. Over to you, Jason.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Russell. And I wish I could say it was all me, but I do get to work with an incredible team of educators at Knox Grammar Prep. And it's definitely a big team network that pulls together what we do there. So I'm going to share with you a video about this guy, the Microbit, a fantastic tool and very exciting. A new one has just been released as well. We'll also talk about all these different little robots that the Microbit can plug into. So it's like a magic show. I'm just pulling robots from everywhere. So there's all different types of ones I've seen throughout the chat. There's been talks about the McQueen bot. and also about the Robit. This is one that I haven't come across before, but recently just have. It's called the microcar. So let's get started with my video. And then any questions, please chuck them along the side. That would be fantastic. I can answer them as the video is going and also afterwards.
Hi, my name's Jason Milner and I'm from Knox Grammar Prep School and part of the Innovation and Technology team. My passions are curriculum, teacher pedagogy and inquiry learning. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to be speaking to you about our incredible team of educators at our school. We're going to look at the projects they've been working on over the past few years and how we've been integrating technology into the syllabus. We're going to be specifically looking at these guys, the microbit. Following that, we're going to explore how I've been working with a second campus of ours, employing a similar program and looking at the changes and differentiation that we've put in place to ensure that it suits their program. Let's get started. At Knox, we focus on the skills that students will need when they graduate. For many of the students that we're working with, they'll be graduating in 2030 and beyond. To assist us in teaching the necessary skills for these students, we focus on a range of models and frameworks which will allow students to develop not only their content knowledge, but also the skills, understandings, values and attitudes which will help guide them and prepare them to reach their goals and aspirations in the future. Through the employment of the Kath Murdoch inquiry model, a transdisciplinary program was created for kindergarten to year 6. The leaders of this approach focused on assisting students in developing global mindfulness and solving global problems with a collaborative lens. The approach focuses on an E-STEM philosophy, with empathy being the forefront of the learning experience. Within these units, students are trying to come up with solutions for problems that people and animals are facing worldwide. In order for this to occur, empathy is vital. Within this program and across all grades, K to year 6, there are 5 big ideas. We no longer have any standalone technology programs, and often you can't see the technology in the surface and may not even be mentioned in the goals that will be achieved by the end of the program. This is because it is so deeply embedded within the units of work. Within these units, there is a wide range of technology used. The main device that we use is this, the microbit. It's a microcontroller which was developed by the BBC. It has been used with schools throughout England and now worldwide. When choosing technology for our programs, we focus on ensuring that it is flexible, adaptable, and can be built upon both physically and through software. The cost of these devices is also quite inexpensive. Being created by the BBC also means that these devices have a great support network behind them. Software which is constantly being updated, and a great website with many different teaching ideas. With this device, we've also purchased kits in which this microbit can plug into. From the microbit to our Robit and the Grove kit and what our year 5 and 6 receive, which is a project kit. These devices are super flexible and easy to integrate into different projects within our school. We are now going to move to our second campus and discuss the steps that we're currently going through to integrate this device. Within this process, it is vital to engage and communicate effectively with our stakeholders, ensure that educators feel empowered, and develop a culture that has a strong skill set and mindset. We also need to make sure that we are choosing appropriate technologies that are accessible to our students and staff. My focus is on 3 things: on mindset, skill set, and tool set. Let's look at how these are integrated into our approach. I really wanted to make sure that teachers felt empowered within this process and felt like they were part of the decision making, whether it was helping looking at some of these robots or helping develop some of the code with the microbit. In teams, staff develop units based on collaboratively created big ideas and shared structures of work. After these conceptual units had been created with a short outline, essential questions to be explored by students, and curriculum integrated, individual teams worked with myself to develop different ways that we could explore and integrate technology into their units. At this point, I acted as a sounding board, hearing what their thoughts and ideas were, and then sharing with them possibilities and what would work with technology. These concepts and thoughts were then placed into the document as a very flexible and fluid concept and idea so that teachers could expand or change. Afterwards, we began exploring the skill set. In turn, through exploring the skill set, we're also strengthening that mindset. Staff will begin to feel more confident in the approach, but also more confident in teaching this in class. Through professional learning, mentorship, and video tutorials, staff are developing their knowledge and skills around the use of these devices, moving back and forth between their programmings, updating their possibilities. We will also have a team of industry experts in the classroom next year, working with teachers and students. This provides a great opportunity for teachers to have more PL, but also to see how this works and what it looks like in the classroom. During this process, we will also be involving our stakeholders, continuously reporting back to our board of directors, the P&C, and also the greater parent community. Early next year, we hope to further engage our parent community by holding a parent conference. During this time, students would have created workshops and keynote presentations with their teachers. This will then be presented to parents so that they can start learning about the microbit and then have good quality conversations at home about what's being learnt at school. Throughout this whole process, running in the background has been a focus on our tool set. We've been focusing on the physical devices that we've been getting into the school. We've been constantly running different tests, ensuring that the devices work with our school network, our fleet of iPads, and enhance the unit of work. We also want to make sure that they are future ready, are flexible, and are able to be built upon. Finally, we also want to make sure that these devices are accessible to all students and staff at our school. And if not, what needs to be done to make sure they are. The power of having an innovation and technology team allows us to work together and explore a range of digital and design tools which are available to the technology and education sector. This is a very short overview of what we've been doing in the school. Remember, when integrating technology into your school, make sure you focus on the why and how it's going to impact students. Ensure the technology is going to enhance student learning and empower students to be creators with technology, not just consumers of technology, because then the sky is their limit.
Wow, that was so awesome. Fantastic.
Thank you, guys, and thanks for all the questions down the side. You're welcome to have a chat to me on Twitter as well if you've got any questions. I'll chuck my handle here for you guys to, yeah, any questions you've got, just give us a yell and I'm more than happy to give you a hand. And thank you so much for the opportunity to present tonight, and thank you for staying back, guys, for so long as well. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, we are running quite late, and I'm sorry to everybody, but we've got two more presenters. I just wanted to see if it open it up and see if anyone wanted to answer Meredith's question about preference for a specialist teacher integrating coding or classroom teachers.
Do you mind if I comment on that, Russell? So we use industry experts. So we've got some students who are currently studying at university that look at, that work with a group called Scope IT. They come in 40 minutes a week and they work with our students and really develop the skills within our students within the coding. Then this is then taken into our actual, this is then taken into our inquiry learning. I think teachers can definitely teach these different areas. It's just about giving them the confidence, and that's the mindset I was addressing within the video. Is we need to make sure they're in the right mindset by helping them develop that tool set. After we've achieved that, then I think 100% yes, it'll be like teaching writing. Teachers will be able to teach code.
Yeah. So it really depends on your school. A lot of it's got to do with numbers and size and rotations and RFF or not RFF. I teach in 40-minute blocks. I teach 900 a week. So it's not very practical. It's not a lot of context in that. that I can expose them as much as possible and also support my classroom teachers as much as possible. I think that it's a journey, and you really got to get a trajectory of about 3 or 4 years to bring in digital technologies. If it's okay with everybody, I'm going to rush on to James. I really want James to, share his magic. James Davies is another teacher with all of those certifications after his name, an ADE, a Google Educator, a Microsoft Innovative Expert. And James does the most incredible things as a classroom teacher with Q and Dash robots. So I'll open it up to James.
Thanks, Russell. Hi, everyone. I also think that there's some awesome presenters that have already spoken before me. I've been listening on. So thank you for all that. And thank you again for everyone for waiting too. I am conscious of time, so I will stick strictly to the limit. And I will just share my screen now, and I'll show you guys a little bit about what I've been doing with Q the Cleverbot. Share screen. Okay. All right, so I have a little video to show you guys first and foremost. And if there's any problem with the audio, Russell, could you unmute yourself and let me know? Here we go. Hey, Q, how you going?
Oh, well, look who's back.
Well, I didn't really go anywhere, buddy. Still got these nice folk here today. We're going to do a presentation. What do you think about that? Reckon it's going to be fun?
Brilliant.
That's what I thought. Okay, so I'm going to need your utmost attention for this. I'm going to need you to focus, and we're going to show some of these people what you can do, right? So that means, not talking while I'm talking. And
hey, what's over there?
Oh, Q, we're going to do a presentation, buddy. So you don't need to be looking around. You're supposed to be showing these nice folk how we can behave in the classroom. That's the purpose of our presentation today. We've got to show them what you can do, right? So, yes, you got to pay attention. We're going to listen to Mr. Davis. Ready to go.
Hey, what's up there?
Oh dear, I'm sorry about this, folks. So we know what's up there. I want you to pay attention. It's presentation time. What do you think? You think you can do it?
Let's do this thing.
That's what I thought. Excellent. Glad to hear it. I don't know, but I'm not 100% confident right now. Are you going to be on your best behavior? No? Oh, okay. Right, this is what we're going to do. I want you to make sure you turn yourself purple when you're ready to join us and do the presentation. And, okay, you can even...
I think my face speaks for itself.
Did he just wink? He did, didn't he? All right, well, when you turn purple and we're ready to go, I'll be ready to talk to these nice folks.
Let's do this thing.
Okay, I think he's ready, guys.
3, 2,
He's counting his in.
1. Moving, read my face lights.
I think he's ready. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Q the Cleverbot. Welcome to my presentation. Now let's move on with the desktop mode. Thanks again for joining. Hi everyone, welcome to the desktop version of my presentation on Q the Cleverbot, Digital Teaching and Learning for K-6. Okay, so you guys have already met Q already earlier from the start of the presentation, but I just now start to drill down into the makeup of Q and the different ways of controlling before talking about it. So basically what I'm saying here is I've just gone into the presentation. I'm just going to let it play, and it's going to explain to you guys a little bit about what the Q Robots features are. Okay, but the main thing, the reason I'm pausing here just to speak to everyone is you can control Q using the app. That's the one that you see on the right there. That's with iOS or Android. Or if you're on a Chromebook or a Windows laptop, you can actually control Q using the code of makewonder.com/Q website. I'm going to play another video, and it will explain a little bit about Q and his features. And then we're going to switch to my website that I put together for Q support. And in the website, I'll briefly show you some of the lessons that I've done with stage 3 and where you can access resource information from. Okay, so this next video is just going to explain a little bit, and only goes for a minute or two, about what the Q Robot can do. Okay. Lessons. So, firstly, if your students are using Windows laptop, you can download the Q app from the Microsoft Store. Here we go. All right, so what could you do? I found this really awesome video from Honest Tips made a couple of years ago, and I think that it's quite comprehensive. It explains Q really well, so we're going to watch that now.
Q by Wonder Workshop. What is it?
Read my face lights.
Q is a customizable robot toy for kids that chats, moves, and interacts with you and its environment. Besides the fun, you have the opportunity to learn programming at different levels. It has emotive artificial intelligence with witty and funny personalities. It also comes with 3 proximity sensors, Bluetooth, infrared transmitters and receivers, 2 powered wheels, dual motors for the head, multiple processors, accelerometer, gyroscope, 3 microphones, speakers, programmable LED lights, and buttons. With the Q by Wonder Workshop app, you have 4 game modes. Chat with Q and have a talk with any of its 4 avatars. Each avatar gives Q a defined personality with quick, unpredictable answers. Control Q directly from your mobile device, or place it in automatic mode so that it seeks, explores, or avoids obstacles, showing its sharp personality at every turn.
Let's move out.
Create lifelike behaviors and program graphic elements that interconnect and represent sensors and motors.
Are you with me?
Code. Program the actions with drag and drop blocks, or easily toggle to JavaScript text by pressing a single button. What else does it offer? Q comes with a USB cable, stickers, warranty, and connector blocks for Lego. Through its infrared sensors, Q interacts with Wonder Workshop robots, Dash and Dot. Q's code environment is based on MakeCode from Microsoft. You can also program it with Apple's Swift language. Choose one of its 4 avatars. Battery is low. The power button will emit a flashing light. Connect it with any charger with micro USB.
Okay, so now we're going to go to my website. I'll put the link in the Zoom tutorial too, and I'll also put my Twitter handle as well at the end of my presentation there. Okay, so I'm just conscious of time. There's my timer going off now. Okay, let's have a look quickly at my website and then I will finish up. So let me go back to here and then, oh, there's one here, not Windows Store. There we go. All right, so this is just a Google site I put together on this website, and I just got to see if I can move it down. There we go, it's a bit better. On this website here, you've got the following titles that you can find. You can find a link about unpacking Q and all the different features of the Q robot. Link to Wonder Workshop, which are the makers of Q. Okay. I've got some video guides here that I've put together, one major one that I've put together to help both students and teachers, so you can actually run that with your kids. I've done some blended learning with that before. Lesson ideas, primary. So again, the Q robot's marketed at teenagers and above in the US. However, I've had success using Q robot with students as young as, I think the youngest we've done is year 1. So we had a year 1 group come in and do some work with Q and myself. So yeah, so it really is about, you know, how you want to use the robots that you have and integrate them in the classroom. So most of my content that you'll see on this site was structured at my year stage 3 class that I had. We spent the entire year actually each term doing different Q related STEM projects. If I scroll back to the top here, I actually turned the rear of my classroom floor, the wet area, into a grid for the kids to use all year. And that masking tape was painful to get off at the end of the year, but it was helpful throughout the year. So, so yeah, so look, have a look through these examples here. There's some really good lessons that I've taken from doing some extensive research online and trial and error, as we all do with robotics. There's some videos there to have a look at and things like that as well. If you wanted to see my entire presentation on the Q robot from the STEAM Summit, the STEAM Wonder Workshop Summit, that link's up there as well. Okay.
And I believe I have contacts on there. And if I don't, that's okay. I'll give contacts in the feed on the side. Okay. Again, it was a short presentation, but I'll just stop sharing my screen now. And yeah, it was a short presentation, but all the content is there online for you to use. And I'm only an email or a Twitter message away. Okay, so again, jump in there, go in the deep end, have a go with the robots. I actually own my own one. I bought it a few years ago before they were released in Australia. So that's the Q robot. Dash is just as awesome, but I've just found Q's my passion. So yeah, I've got my own one. It's called Mr. Q. Yeah. So all right, please feel free to contact me. I'll put my details on the side chat here. And thank you everyone for listening.
Thanks so much. James, I think, is one of the hardest working stage 3 teachers. I just keep running into him all the time. I'm always chasing him and saying, James, can you please help us out with this one? And he always comes through for me. Thanks so much. If it's okay, I'm going to share my screen and just quickly go through my PowerPoint. And then we can all go home and get some sleep. I'm going to start here. Normally, always my great colleague or partner in crime, fellow teacher, Carl always joins us. He can't join us today. Carl is amazing for talking about Lego robots. So I want to talk about what I've done with missions, maps, models, manuals, and the maker mindset to try and incorporate more of that Lego type stuff. I just wanted to say, I Googled a fantastic article about 2 months ago. We did a little and I just love this forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning of putting it out there, trying to build the interest. You may have to do a full year of robotics clubs where you're just trying to sort out who your key people are going to be. You may have to sort of like spice it up and do term 1 and term 2 one way, term 3 and term 4. I find that stage 3 are quite unreliable in term 4. So if you can, try and get that commitment from them earlier, and then try and get them to peer teach your younger kids. Deciding on a purpose. There's different types of purposes for robotics clubs. One is building and learning. The second one is what we're talking about with these clubs, solving challenges and competing. The other one is collaborating with other schools and celebrating, like as a education week, a fundraiser, etc. And then the last one is extending. Devices are super important. You've got to try and work out what your school's device is. We have iPads in K-2, laptops in 3 to 6. I'm a big fan of Chromebooks, so I try and mix it up with the kids as well. There's been a lot of questions about layout of rooms. I feel that every larger primary school should try and have a makerspace, and that makerspace should be used at least 5 times a day, so pretty much constantly. And you might need tools and benches and special seats and special tables. All of that can be built quite cheaply. The other thing is design thinking, or the engineering process is really important, as is filming and showing those celebrations. Why do we do it? Well, we believe that kids are filled with wonder and to be more creative. This is just briefly some of the comps that I've been involved with this year. We had a go at VEX with these amazing big stadiums. We also had a go with Wonder Workshop with these fantastic grid mats that are quite large as well. And we were rookies for Lego First. We didn't actually compete. We came very close to competing. We just ran out of time. We're going to keep the mats, and we're going to practice next year and compete the following year. I've also included MakeX as well. MakeX is a really interesting challenge that I just want to talk very briefly about. And also the Classroom Connect and the Dash's Neighbourhood that Claire was talking about. Just going to say, we want to see teachers, or we want to help teachers to unleash the creative potential in their kids to be designers and creators. So the first one I wanted to talk about was First Lego League. And there's a lot of different First Lego Leagues, and I've never done one before, and I've seen one, and I was quite nervous about it. But I gave it a go, and I basically gave an iPad for 3 or 4 lunchtimes to a couple of kids, and I gave them some kits, and they made a video, and we submitted the video, and we got a scholarship to attend, which included a couple of mats, a couple of kits, and a whole lot of rules and regulations and exciting contacts. We were really, really helped by the first team, and First Lego League is not something that's widely supported in the Department of Education, and also caters right through for the younger years with these from science fairs through to the older years. So here's what it looks like. You get these big giant mats and you build these fantastic tables. I built the tables myself for about $120 using recycled materials. I went to Bunnings, I gave the plans to them. They chopped up all the wood that fitted in my tiny little car, and then I brought it to my work, which is quite a way away from where I live, and the GA built it for me. We got 2 mats. We got the City Shaper, and we got the new replay challenge. We got these little workshop things as well. And this isn't us, but this is some photos that I could find online of the community getting behind it. Now that does take a lot of space, but there's lots of real clever designs of people making ones that fold up. This is also exciting because we did this with Spike Prime. And Spike Prime is pretty new to the Department of Education. This is Carl and I's own attempt and challenge at running our own competition. And this was when we walked into an office at the Department of Education. We saw 15 kits of Spike Prime just sitting there. We asked them very politely, could we take a couple back to our classrooms? We talked with them for a couple of weeks, and we convinced the MTA to send out 12 loan kits on a loan or purchase scheme to 12 different schools. We linked it in with Science Week, covering the blue economy, conservation, exploration, or sustainability. It was a Girls in STEM program, and there it is again. We really enjoy trying to promote more Girls in STEM. Also, the K-2 clubs, really enjoyed working with McKindy's. A big fan of the new rugged robot, which looks like this, a little 4-wheel one that you could take outside. Big fan of doing all the things that we can with the blue bots, connectability again, that we can have with the Spheros, and big fan of doing things with the Ozobot Evo. Next one, I talk about the linkages with picture books. And these are 2 of my favorite picture books. Lots and lots of activities that we can find online for those. Robotics makes coding tangible, takes it off the screen and into the real world. We had a bit of a chat today about doing it on screen as well. And it combines these aspects of computational thinking and design thinking. I got started thanks to Meredith and Tony from CSER. I went to their webinars. It's just like so exciting. It was like a breath of fresh air. I got a loan kit of 5 Dash robots and 3 Q robots. And with that, I was able to convince the principal to give me a full-time RFF position teaching coding and robotics and digital technologies. Love the Dash that you can pull it apart. I didn't pull this one apart, but I teach robot guts, what's inside robots, and it's all sensors, I should say. Love all the accessories, and this is what I mentioned. You can create your own ones of these, but the rocket launch is pretty good. The dash with the pen, the gripper, and just making the mats for the floor, or that masking tape, which is terrible to get off the carpet, and using solo cups. All of those resources are on their website, and lots of teachers do it in lots of different ways. The linkages between ICT and digital technologies and all those little outcomes that we've got to try and meet. VEX is a huge Chinese competition, and VEX has tried to run a couple of different international events. The latest one is open for the next 3 weeks. It includes a household helper robot with any of these robots, or using the Make Block coding platform. And I have been very helpful to get some loan kits from Parktronics to have a little play with. VEX also make this little cute junior robot, a Cody block, a Cody Rocky, and these mats as well, which are pretty cool. This is the VEX challenge, which you'll find on the Parktronics site. And I really love the fact that the kids have to make a poster with it and do lots of design thinking. They had a challenge on a microcontroller, which is closed, but they've still got 24 days open for the handy household helper robot, which is very similar to the existing challenge for RoboCup Junior, so you could probably do both. Video production is very important because you want to document your story, whether you're doing it for your actual comp or whether you're just doing it for fundraising and PNC and just to share the journey. Something that we've also done is also including making robots in virtual animation workshops. We just put the team in STEM because it's all about a team, and it's all about all these amazing opportunities that I get presented with all the time from our friends at Microsoft and Google and Apple. I am going to, and I'm going to wrap up in just one sec. Want to stop my screen here. And want to thank everyone for coming, and want to say hopefully we can continue this chat offline. Any final comments, anyone?
I just want to say, Russell, thank you very much for organising tonight. It has been absolutely fantastic. You mentioned earlier on a couple of really highly sought after people to speak to, such as Tony and Meredith. They are actually our speakers next week, along with Helen, our secretary, who will be running our webinar next week. So I've posted the details for that. So it'd be great to have any or all of you join us as we celebrate very much Christmas theme next week around cyber safety and keeping our students well and safe over the holidays.
Thanks for wrapping that up, Brian. As I said, if you are thinking about doing robotics next year, just get started with something. You might be like me, trying to do 5 or 6 things at once and not completing many of them, but it's all a learning journey, and the kids are going to have heaps of fun, and you're going to try and get that community.
Russell, can I make a suggestion? I noticed a few people are feeling overwhelmed now in the chat. There is a lot out there. There's a lot you can do. My suggestion is pick your top 3 or 4, take it to the kids, show the kids, ask them what competition they're interested in doing, because unless you've got their passion, you're just sort of going the wrong way, because you need to capture the kids' attention. So go show them the competitions, show them online, take them to a competition next year, show them what it is, get them to experience the competition, enter if you're brave enough to do it, or just go and watch and, take just one step forward each time.